All right.
Big crowd.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Norfolk Planning Board meeting for Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. We are here this evening in Town Hall Meeting Room 124. We do have one of our board members is remote. I'll talk about that in a minute. In accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, notice was previously provided that we are meeting this evening at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting at 1 Liberty Lane, Norfolk, Massachusetts, or by remote Zoom. Please note that the in-person meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technical problems interrupt the remote connection. This meeting was posted, like I said, on the town's website. You can get the Zoom link there. You could also call into the meeting. All that information is on the town's website. Alternatively, you can access this later via Zoom, you can access it later via the YouTube channel. NCTV will be recording this and streaming it live. So we'll go ahead and just do a roll call here of the board members. We do have one remote member, Gary Sullivan. Gary, can you hear us? All right. We have Eric Diamond, myself, Chad Peck, Melissa Mayo. We have our town planner, Richard McCarthy, and our town administrator, Bessie Vajol. We do have one member missing, Chris Montefort. He will be joining us here shortly. He's running a little bit late. So let's go ahead and let's do a quick overview here. We've got three appointments tonight. No public hearings. 3 appointments. We have a 7 p.m. for Camger 360 Main Street. We have a 7:30 p.m. to discuss the potential electric vehicle charging stations. And we have a 7:45 p.m. for the Pond Street Recreational Complex. We do have some new additional business items for 2040 Dedham Street, 10 MacArthur Ave, and some town planner updates and some meeting minutes. So let's dig right into our first appointment at 7 p.m. for Camger 360 Main. It's a request for a minor site plan modification to allow for ground-mounted solar to be installed on the eastern border of the property. So we do have on the screen, and they can see this on the TV as well?
Yes, they can.
Yep, okay. So we do have on the screen, that looks like it is the as-built plan with an overlay of the solar, is I believe what we're seeing here. So who do we have representing Camger?
Joe Meisner.
Okay, if you could grab a microphone, just name and your address, and if the green light's lit up, you're good.
So I'm Joe Meisner. I'm with Camger.
Okay.
We're at 364 Main Street. So we've been in front of you with this before.
Yep.
And it had to go back because they were looking at how they were defining what the solar array was, and they determined that it had to be considered a structure, which changed the setback on it. So we went back to the zoning board to get a variance on the setback, so that we're going with a 30-foot setback along the edges. The other conditions that they added is that they're looking for the greenbelt area to extend all the way to the end of the array. So that's the only thing that they added or really changed from the last time that we were here. So I guess we're just looking for, I'm not sure how the term of what they need to sign off on.
Yep.
I think, I don't know if you need more information. I know before we talked about why it's not on the building, because the building wasn't designed in order to be able to handle a solar array at the time that it was made, and there's no way to change it.
Right.
Really, it's ground up when they design what the load is on the roof.
Right.
So it's not feasible to put it there. So the array is intended to do about 85 to 90% of the power requirements of the building. So once again, the idea is that everybody wins out of it. And we're putting it in an area where we believe it really has minimal impact. At the zoning board meeting, the abutters that are right alongside were here and were in support of what we were doing.
Okay.
So
So if I am trying to think back to when you were here for the site plan for the building itself, were the solar panels part of the original plan?
No.
No. So the modification you're looking for is to add the panels to the site plan
Yes.
in that location? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just wanted to understand that, and also just to get it, just so everyone else understands.
Sure,
as
what are
well.
we really asking, right? That's
Okay. So you've been through zoning, and zoning has, and
we passed with that. We're now in the 20-day appeal period, okay, which will be completed on the 28th.
okay,
And then from there, we would have to bring it to the Registry of Deeds, bring it back, and then the permit can be, reviewed by the building department.
okay. So,
And we've had it in front of them, too. We gave them early warning, right, to find out whether they had questions out of what we were doing to try to make it, like I said, work with everybody to make it work.
Okay. Good. So on that, I mean, I don't have a ton of questions. It sounds like you've been doing everything, going through the process. You're here tonight, obviously, for the minor site modification, site plan modification. Where does all the electrical for that feed into?
So it'll all go down, right here is where the box is now,
Okay.
okay? And everything will feed down into there. There may be a small transfer switch next to the box that's there.
Okay.
We're working with Eversource. They were down last week, although I haven't got a determination back from them, where the transfer may actually be able to occur inside the box. So there may be nothing more additional there.
Okay. Any other questions from board members?
Sounded like, or there may be a similar size box put adjacent to,
It'll be, it's a splice box, so the size of the box that would have to go next to it, my understanding is significantly smaller if they have to do a splice box there.
And if they do, that means we're adding to the existing pad that's there as well, increasing the footprint.
They'd have to increase the footprint, but they said that was going to be small and it would just be further back. All right, the idea was to be able to, keep it shielded away. Obviously, nothing any closer to the
To the road.
to the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But again, we're really hoping to be able to get the other ones.
Okay.
within.
Makes more sense for everybody, really.
Yep. Anyone else? Questions? Gary, you got any questions?
No, I mean, my only comment would be, if I recall the last conversation we had on this, was like that there was going to be a certain amount of ugliness with it being so close to the street in the original proposal, but I kind of weighed that against the value in having renewable energy. This actually kind of fixes some of the perceived ugliness there by shifting more of it to the back of the. So we still get the, the gains in solar energy with I think, what will end up to be a nicer installation. And so this is great.
Good. Rich, any comments, thoughts?
No, I think Joe, nice job summarizing it in terms of, like I said, the issue that, they were before the board, the ZBA, that had to withdraw without prejudice and refile because of the determination that the arrays would be classified as a structure. So they sought the variance and they were granted the relief.
And is there no fence requirement as part of that?
No.
Okay. Any comments from anyone else on Zoom or in the room? Okay. So Rich, you're looking for a motion to approve the minor site modification plan as shown for the ground-mounted solar array.
Yes.
Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
All right, we will do a roll call vote because we have one member that is remote. So we'll start with Gary. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so
Can I jump?
our next appointment is not until 7:30. So do you want to, Rich, do you want to move forward with some new business?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, which one would be appropriate?
I think MacArthur Ave would probably be the simplest to start with.
Okay, let's do that.
I did forward an email yesterday from DPW making a recommendation. So Franz Burke had requested a reduction in the surety for MacArthur Avenue. As he did construct it. Now it's complete. The only thing left is to prepare an as-built plan and then get it accepted as a public way. We were originally going to try to do the fall town meeting, but in terms of, excuse me, it'll be a partial acceptance because part of it's a paper street. So town council wanted to have an updated title exam done to make sure we line everything up properly. So anyway, I'm not gonna be able to do it in November. So he's requesting a reduction. DPW recommended reducing down to $5,000.
Okay. Did the DPW have a breakout of that? Why? Did they have a summary of their 5,000? Was that? Oh.
It's in the
The
folder.
summary was, I think,
No, the summary was
28,000.
in the,
The folder shows what was originally.
The original 24.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
yeah.
I was just curious where they came up with the 5,000. I mean,
What,
Sounds like there aren't as-bills.
Let's see what it is.
as-built here, they have listed at $2,000.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's some sort of work that they're thinking. And there's nothing that's called out at a value of about $5,000. Anything over that would just be some subcontractor work, so that's labor.
Yeah. And contingency wouldn't go that high either.
Right.
I mean, I haven't been out there recently, so I'm not 100% sure what the existing conditions are. Rich, have you been out there?
Yeah. I was out there like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
So everything's in good standing in terms of the condition out there. Franz removed the, there was a silt fence that was wrapping around on the left-hand side,
Okay.
the riprap was, so he removed that. And everything else has been stabilized, so.
Okay. So we got, where was that DPW? So,
I don't know if it's a rounding, round to 5.
I'm just curious of where the DPW came up with that.
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't have a,
He didn't indicate that in his email.
He did not. I just
No.
saw $5,000. I was like, all right. I mean, like Chris was saying, the as-bills are at 2,000, so we definitely need that.
yeah.
He probably has has he done the top coat?
Yeah, everything's done.
Okay, so that's done.
All the construction is complete.
So if all the construction's complete and all that's remaining is the as-built, I mean, it basically then it's a $3,000 contingency. 2,000 for the as-built and a 3,000 contingency. So
Right.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, that seems.
3?
No, I'm saying.
5,000.
I'm
I see
saying the
what you're saying,
5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take the 5,000, subtract out the 2 for the as-built.
Right.
There's still a 3,000 contingency left.
Correct.
So
Yep.
that, and if you're saying everything else on the list, there was dense grade, the 1-inch and 2-inch stone, bituminous, the binder, you said binder, tack, and top are done. So paving's done.
Everything's done.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm comfortable with the numbers that DPW typically provides. It's not a significant amount from our perspective, and it alleviates Friends on his side as well. So I think it's mutually beneficial to all. So I'm willing to move forward.
Yep. Any other questions? Gary? No? Okay. Seems appropriate. All right.
And I did forward to Franz, so he's aware of the amount, so
Okay. So,
if there's any objection or anything.
okay. Like to entertain a motion to reduce the bond for 10 MacArthur Ave from $24,858 down to $5,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Gary,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay. What do you want to tackle next, Rich? Got another 15 minutes or so.
Sure. We can, actually, probably can go to 240 Dedham Street, which is fine. It's more informational purposes for the
Sure.
board.
Okay.
As you know, 240 is next to the Gulf gas station on Dedham Street, 1A.
Oh, yeah.
The building's been up for 15 years now, give or take.
It's in pristine condition.
The empty one?
What's that?
The empty building?
The
Empty
brick one,
building?
yeah.
Like red brick,
Yeah.
I think?
Yeah, that's the one.
The red brick. There's an interested party in purchasing it, and in order to, well, purchase it and then complete it, in terms of get occupancy for inside the building on the first floor for now, and which also includes get occupancy for the site itself. So Dunn McKenzie did prepare an updated as-built plan, and I have a proposal from Beta to do a review of what's out there today versus what was approved, and do a comparison, because there was some deviations from the original, excuse me, approval. And so part of the process to get this to occupancy is they'll need to request a modification from the planning board from some of those requirements from the original approval. And then if the board is comfortable with that, then the next part of that step would be to recommend a occupancy permit for the building, for the first floor only. The project was originally approved in two parts, so the front part was the building that you see there, and then the rear portion was for self-storage. What he does want to do, the potential purchaser, is just close out in terms of the first phase of it, so the front end of it. He might not pursue the self-storage in the back. He might do something else. So for now, he just wants to complete it as a complete phase one. And then down the road, he would come back to the planning board to permit the rear portion of the site.
Okay, this was originally permitted in what, 2008? Is that what I saw?
Yeah,
So it was originally permitted in 2008. The permits it was never finalized, right? I mean, the permits were awarded, but the project was never completed.
Right.
Occupancy never granted
no.
for phase one. Obviously, phase two is down the road, but
Yeah.
just for
but
phase one.
Just the building, yeah, you
So
see.
the building's there, it's there, but not 100% complete, even on the inside. I mean, from the outside, you drive by, you couldn't tell. I mean,
No, right, interior-wise,
Okay.
it's not, no.
all right. So,
So we'll be, to get occupiable, that's probably not a technical right word, but to get occupancy for the first floor, and then there'll have to be a tenant fit up in terms of,
Right.
you know, what they do inside it, but
right.
the second floor is not occupiable yet. But it's not occupancy for that either, so,
So, right now, they're looking to get
just the first floor.
occupancy for first floor and for the site.
Yes.
For phase one.
Right,
Second floor would be down the road.
down the road, yep.
Okay. All right. And you said Beta's is contracted
Yes,
to go out and do an analysis, and the buyer is going to pay for that?
correct.
Who's okay.
Yeah, the buyer's gonna pay for that. One of the things we did talk about with Phil from Beta in terms of doing this behalf of the board, some stuff, they're gonna have to make some professional judgment in terms of, because this has been constructed for multiple years, in terms of what's out there.
Codes have changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Building
Yeah,
codes have
mainly
changed.
for the storm, I'm talking more of the site-related
Well,
stuff.
yes,
Yeah. So it's going to be a finesse, so to speak, and try to get it to, the stormwater system's been operational. There hasn't been any,
But has it been maintained?
it seems to be in pretty good shape, yeah. If
Okay.
you go out there. It's above grade, it's not below grade too, so you can visually
Okay.
inspect it, so, but they're not quite ready. They've applied for occupancy, so they're working through the building permit occupancy aspect of it right now. So it's just more of a, for your information. So there's no action needed for tonight.
Yeah, so for us, we're not overly concerned about the inside of the building. That's something
No.
that Bob's working on. It's more the
Correct.
site plan.
The site.
And any deviations there too, and any code changes that have happened in the last
Yes.
15 years.
Right. Right.
So, and I should go back and correct what I was saying. It's like, I don't know whether the buyer or seller is paying for it. It's just the town is not paying for Beta to go out.
No, correct, yeah. No,
So somebody else besides us
correct.
is,
That's
is-
right.
is paying to do
Yeah.
the.
And they've agreed to pay for it, it's just
Okay.
they're not
Okay.
ready to pay yet to come in. But I'm just giving to you just more as a
Okay.
awareness what's upcoming.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
There, on that property, isn't there something behind there now where there are trucks and dirt, or is that a different piece of property?
Nah, it's the same property,
It's the same property?
yeah.
Okay.
That'll have to get cleaned out too.
Well, I mean, it's good to see that something's happening there, because I've always wondered what is going on.
I know.
Why is that
It's a really
not-
pretty building in a
Yeah.
good
So
location.
the owner of the property right now, currently, he does have an excavation company, so it's not,
Okay. Is that
that's-
what's behind there? Because there's,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, okay.
he's in the excavating, construction type business, that's why you see that equipment back there.
Oh, okay. That
Okay.
makes sense.
All right.
So once we get to that point, he'll be out of the picture, so that'll cease back there, and
So when do you anticipate them coming back to the board?
I don't know, this pace, it might not be till December. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say December.
Okay.
Probably the earliest. Because we're, what, a month out from your, this month? Or less than a month, what's the next meeting?
A little more than a month.
Yeah, a little more than a month, yeah. Yeah, probably. It's a shot for November, I guess.
Okay, it'd be tight for November, but
Yeah.
maybe.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Let's see.
Just curious.
If not, maybe just kind of an interim report where things are too.
Yep, okay.
If we get, some of it underway.
All right.
So,
All right, we've got 5 minutes. You want to knock out some meeting
Minutes?
minutes?
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we have lots of them.
We do.
I saw my typo on the 9-10 minutes, so I'll make that change.
All right, Melissa?
Okay. Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the Master Plan Steering Committee on September 26th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Gary?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Betsy, I guess you need to let us know, can we all vote on these? Were we all in attendance for all the master plan?
Let me see.
And, I mean, I know we were for the 26th. At least I think we were.
This one. Sorry. Let's see, Gary. Yep, you were all there for the one.
26th.
26th.
Okay?
And then 3, 4, Chad, Gary, Chris, and Melissa. So 4 of you were there.
So no Eric.
Eric.
Okay, so we'll do that one next then.
Make a motion to approve the meeting notes for the Master Plan Steering Committee on March 4th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll do roll call vote. Gary?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And then March 26th?
26th, let's see, Gary, Chad, Gary, Chris, and Melissa were there.
Okay, no Eric, okay.
Eric.
All right. Make a motion to approve the meeting notes from March 26th, 2024.
So moved.
You want to second it?
Or second.
Okay. We'll do a roll call vote. Gary?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And May
May
8th?
8th, Chad, Chris, and Melissa.
And Gary. Wait, oh, that's not the 8th. So Chad, Chris,
And Melissa.
Melissa. Okay.
All right. Make a motion to approve the meeting notes from May 8th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. All right. Okay, so that's,
And then we have September 10th. Was there anybody missing from that one? Planning board meeting?
I think we were all,
I think we
You
were.
were all there.
I think we were all here.
Double check it.
Okay.
Yep, you were all there.
All right. Make a motion to approve the meeting notes for the planning board meeting from September 10th, 2024.
do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Gary?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Chris, do you have, or Rich, do you have any, we got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, we can
start?
tee up for
Okay.
EV.
All right. So 7:30 appointment, discuss potential EV charging stations at 31 and 36 Pine Street.
All right. Just a little bit of context for you. See,
Is there anything you want me to display?
you can go up to, yeah. Nick, go up to the,
You can come up and sit at one of the microphones.
sure.
Carl, I can do the car wash site plans.
Let's do the medical first. How's that?
Sure.
So through the internal permitting process for the building department, there was a request for construction of a EV charging station at 31 Pine Street, which is the medical building. In reviewing the plans and going through the zoning bylaw, was uncovered and determined that that's not allowable use in the C1 district. At the moment, the only district that allows EV charging stations is the B1. The C6 zoning change is coming up for November. There is a change to add EV charging facilities there. So then really became a question of, well, it's not an allowable use. It is, it is a commercial enterprise in terms of, it's available to the public and, people are charged. It's not a complimentary, use or amenity, if you will, for the medical building. It is actually a commercial enterprise. So that's why the issue came up in terms of the zoning bylaw. And so in part of that discussion is then, well, it would also will need a site plan modification. So if you see from the plans there, they already put in the utility pole, if you drive by the property now. There's some sand there on the site. So it's trying to put a round peg in a square hole, so to speak, because at the moment, we don't allow the use. Now, we know EV are, they're being
They're here.
deployed all over Massachusetts, throughout the country and so forth. So discussions with the building department, it's not allowable use. I don't know really if there's really a path at the moment forward to allow it, because it's not allowable use.
We got to change the use table.
Yeah, so we have to change the use table to do that, which,
Again.
Well, we knew that was going to happen.
yeah, we knew the use table would change.
Let's be honest.
But,
That could be something like to support this on an immediate case, it could be something like a friendly amendment during the town meeting.
That's, that would be something to consider if that,
it's outside the scope of it.
Yeah, we
It-
talked about all the other zones that it would make sense in, and we
Right.
said
Yeah.
it was too complicated to
I think
include
we're,
others.
at the moment, I think we're kind of boxed into the spring to not be able to do it in the fall, because it's already been noted. I mean, you're at a hearing, you noticed it. I mean, ask council.
Yep.
I mean,
And
you know-
ideally, what we would do, we would make it by special permit from the planning board
So
for the
that,
time being until we're able to like completely modify it.
you don't really have the authority, you don't have you don't have a pathway for that either.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, so, it's an interesting point. I suppose I could see if that's within scope.
it,
Seems-
that's the question. Is it within scope? I
Yeah, I think that might,
doubt it, but let's ask.
it's a long shot, but it's certainly,
Because the zoning
If not,
changes
then-
are C6 specific, and I don't know who said it, but we avoided making some other changes because of that.
right, because the zoning for the fall, with the exception of the two changes, one was for the special permit, accessory building and, adding, story, half-story, whatever.
Right.
The bulk of those zoning changes were just, related to the C6 changes, not going outside that bubble, so to speak.
Right.
But we know they're here to, we do know EV, they are here to come, so, I can ask about that. And so Nick, in terms of that would be if the zoning is before town meeting in November?
Can we have,
Oh, yeah, he should introduce himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So my name's Nick Valori. I'm the owner of East Coast Renewable Energy, Milford, Mass-based company. We do EV, and we're actually talking to the town about donating the level 3 charges for the town also. These two locations were sold by myself. I just want to make a quick point that Rich made, is the pole that was installed was actually installed directly by Eversource. We don't do those. So the pole is done by Eversource without our knowledge as to when it gets done. Just to be very clear, I know it was we made a comment that it was installed without permitting, but that was not by us.
right. So Rich, just out of curiosity, my neighbor, Tom Janowski, familiar, is a partner of his. So does that mean I need to abstain from this, or how would you like to proceed?
I don't
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't
You're
think
not
they,
making any decisions?
No.
yeah.
All right, perfect. Just wanted to make sure.
You could always.
I don't see that as a conflict.
No, it's not conflict. You could always disclose that you
Disclosed.
disclose.
You just-
All right, perfect.
But thank you anyway.
No
That's
problem.
good to know. So yeah, as Nick said, yes, they did approach, we actually had a meeting yesterday about charging, EV charging for the town. That one we're looking at right now for town hall, but we are looking at other locations. So the big view forward of this, that we do need to go to town meeting to address EV charging stations in the use table across the district. So we know they're here. And when we were meeting yesterday, we really didn't have any, it's just not, you know, absent when we did the B1 zoning a few years ago, we didn't even really, you know, EV wasn't necessarily something like, oh, we need to kind of address that within the zoning bylaws. But we do need to do that. But as part of that process, though, we do need to look at the parking bylaw, because some of the provisions there, for example, like right now in minimum so these would be in, you know, required parking spaces. If you're, you know, above minimum requirement, no, there's not. And obviously this particular site, there's ample parking, so we're really not talking about taking up parking spaces that are otherwise need to be utilized for the use itself. But it's just in general compliance with the bylaw, we'll need to address it, whereas they could either be part of that minimum requirement or above that, because we'll need to address that. For example, our bylaw structure where handicap parking is above the minimum required parking. But a lot of communities actually have handicap as part of their minimum requirement, so it's not above it. So in some ways, there's kind of a companion, you know, the idea is that these would be similar to handicap because they're a dedicated parking space. And so we'll need to address that as well. And then in terms of what kind of site plan you may need to see in terms of from them when they come in is another topic of discussion. To what level of detail? I mean, these are just, we have the other ones there.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear with the parking. So there is no ADA compliance with the level 3 chargers. Additionally, that the level 3 chargers do not have specific only electric vehicle parking. So the level 2 chargers, when it came out, it was specific for level 2, I mean, EV chargers, nobody else could park there. The level 3s do not require only EVs to park there. So it's not, you're really not taking any parking away.
Right.
Okay?
So you could just park there and not plug in.
Yeah,
is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Now, the owner obviously doesn't want that to happen,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it can happen.
Right.
And that was one of the things we talked about with the town. When you have the charging stations there, anybody can park there, but the town obviously doesn't want combustion vehicles parking there because they're taking away the availability of revenue generation.
Yeah. And nowhere with a, you know, private party, you know, they putting these on their site. They don't have us gas people, so to speak. They're still around. Parking EV parking spots, right? So the point is we need to kind of address it in some way, so we don't have any issues with the zoning bylaw. So to summarize, in this case, I will talk to council and see if that's a possibility. If not, I think this one, and then the one across the street, which is the car wash, would have to wait till we can change the bylaw.
Yeah, I don't see a way around it right now.
There's not really a way around it, yeah.
But then we need to go through all the districts and
Right.
and adjust it.
Right.
We need to do that recursive review.
Yeah. And when we kind of touch into, or as we step into this topic, similarly, we'll need to do it with residential parking as well, because when we start to get into, you know, multifamily housing, you know, the stretch code now requires EV charging there too, so it has like a cascade effect, so. So anyway, I wanted to.
I feel like Andy Bakanowski has mentioned this to us before, at least to me.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, yeah, he has,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
Now, if you guys don't mind, regarding the stretch code, that can be divided into the level 2 charges and the level 3 charges. So the level 2 charges are what I have at my house. So you'll see them at people's houses.
yep.
Just plug them right in, well, you don't plug them in, but you install them in the house. The level 3 charges are 3-phase power, so it's a special dedicated line to these charging stations. So at the end of the day, you're actually enhancing all these properties, especially the town's properties, with 3-phase power. And if anybody knows, and I think Rich had talked to us about it a couple times, there are some housing developments that the town of Norfolk has that you guys can't get completed because you can't get the power there. Whether it's the transformers or the 3-phase power. So with this incentive that National Grid and Eversource are doing, they're really, the infrastructure is just tremendous. And it should be, in my opinion, accepted by the town just because of what it's offering to the town. Having the availability of level 3 chargers for the townspeople, it's really, you're talking about solar installation and stuff like that, which is all great. This is really futurizing the town, even if it's only for a few locations.
Right. And that's a good location. I mean, it's easily accessible from 1A, also from Route 1. I mean, and it's got ample parking.
Yeah, 2 great locations that we got approval from the owners on, and definitely get a lot of use and a lot of notoriety for the town to have them on there. So if we can get it on the town meeting for November,
Yep.
that'd be a wonderful opportunity, just for the sheer publicity of having these in the town.
Yeah, we'll see if it's appropriate. I mean, the warrant is closed, so right? The warrant's closed.
Yeah, the warrant's closed, it's already, yeah.
So-
I mean, this is a matter of just that if somebody wanted to make a floor amendment,
Yeah, if it's within the scope, if our town council feels it's within the scope, we could do an amendment on the floor and modify it. If not, it'll be spring.
Okay. Meeting, I'm a member down, so how it goes. But if you guys can, as soon as possible, we can let the utility, one of the things is getting the pole drop. And you got the pole drop more faster than anything I've ever seen, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll have I would imagine I can probably try to get an answer, this week.
Yeah.
We would
latest.
need to be prepared to be able to modify it on the floor, to be able to
Yes.
do it appropriately at not just one spot, but all the correct ones.
So if town council feels it's within, we need to, we'll have to get some sort of language, like Eric's saying, what's the appropriate way to do it?
Yeah.
And run that by.
I'm not too optimistic,
moderator.
just to be honest with you. Because I think it's got a cascading effect.
I-
That's the problem with it, I mean, I say challenge, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
Yes.
And what's the alternative, since one of the partners is a resident, would they be able to put a citizen's petition up to get it approved in the particular zones that they're looking to get approval in?
Still wouldn't get it to the spring now, Yeah. There's no,
Because warrant's closed.
Right,
Fall.
that's
Yeah.
true.
The only way to get it would be an amendment if it's within scope of an existing article.
now I guess not, well, let's see. It might be a baby step, I suppose, if you wanted to do it in the commercial zones for now and not touch residential necessarily for November. Do it a phased approach.
Might be, as town council.
Yeah.
Say-
Explore different options. I mean, there is, in terms of, if we
Because we can't-
needed, the planning board, you could, a little bit cumbersome, but you could, through the special permit, change modify parking requirements if necessary. That's already on the books in terms of, number of required spots, in terms of, not going against the required number. Let's see what council says.
Okay.
All right.
I would like to make one last point, just so you guys know, I know you're talking about changing things. The incentive for the level 3 chargers is a finite incentive, meaning there's only so much money. So once that money is gone,
It's gone.
we have to wait for the new incentive to come out, and knowing the energy incentives, it normally takes 2 years for the new incentive to come out. Now, this might pump out a lot quicker, but I think if we could figure something out, at least like Rich is saying, for the commercial, because that's specifically 3-phase, for November, I think that'd be a great thing, not only for the 2 businesses we have here, but also for the town. Because I can't imagine we're going to be able to submit for pre-approval with Eversource for the town if we don't have the bylaws adjusted.
Sounds like it is in place for,
It is for the town, because that's in the B1. It's the
Well, the
only
same place, yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about like 4 or 5 other locations.
Yeah, there are other locations.
Okay.
So it's,
Well, you've got to use up a grant, you can use it in the spot you can in the meantime.
well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we want to be able to try to get it for all commercial, so this way, when I do submit the pre-approval or the proposals to Eversource to ultimately get the pre-approvals, you know, we have to really have everything in line.
Okay.
So it might be something to get a special permit of something, some sort, or whatever we can figure out.
It would have to be a vote at town meeting,
Yeah.
because right now, there's no special permit process for it, so, yeah.
I only know so much,
Yeah.
so I apologize if I'm talking out of turn here.
No, no.
I just want to be able to let everybody know what's
I
going
appreciate-
on. So
yeah.
my donation to the town is subject to, obviously, whatever we can get done here, because we can't consciously submit something for pre-approval from Eversource if it's not allowed in the town,
Right.
you know?
Yep. No, I appreciate that information. It's helpful.
And I can tell you that National Grid is 75% filled. I know you're Eversource, but National Grid let me know 2 weeks ago that they're 75% filled of their incentive, considering this incentive was opened up in July of 2023. So within a year, a little over a year, the incentive is pretty much filled. So I don't know where Eversource is. I know they're not installing as fast as National Grid, but there's a lot in the queue.
Yeah.
Specifically for my company.
Okay.
So there's a lot there.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody on Zoom or in the room? Okay. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Rich in the town has got my contact information. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to address whatever you have. All right?
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you. All right, so our next appointment is 7:45 for Pond Street Recreational Complex, resubmission, or the pre-submission review for proposed pickleball courts.
Yes, so we have,
Oh, joy.
what's that?
I said, oh, joy.
So, Rob.
You really
Kennedy-
want that skate park. It's not happening.
Yeah.
A ball.
Sorry, thank you.
Gary and I both.
I know.
I just had surgery, you know, so that I could get back to skateboarding. Alas, I haven't replaced the skateboard.
I appreciate you bringing these in. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just appreciate you bringing them in so we can see it. Because the pickleball courts are so small on the plan sheet.
So the purpose of tonight is to, well, number one, Park and Rec wants to add pickleball courts to the Pond Street Recreation Complex. And in order to do that, it's going to require a site plan modification. So tonight is really just to kind of talk through the project and the modification, and for which, what might be needed. I have some general, you might have obviously more questions, the board, but in terms of just some higher level questions, you can think about it as we go through this. But one, do you think a public hearing is needed or not? That's one question. The second one would be, and hopefully I think Park and Rec would like to see the modification focused around the pickleball courts in that area of the site, not to focus the change here around the pickleball courts. Then third question about whether it warrants a third-party review. And so Park and Rec has engaged Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Engineering, and he's here to kind of assist with it, but to also understand, if you remember, Bill had last year did the salt shed for DPW. So in terms of this process, what it entails kind of shapes what he potentially needs to do for Park and Rec. So that's the general purpose of tonight's discussion.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
Welcome.
So we'll hand it over to you if you want to introduce yourself and.
My name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I have met with Rich and the Parks and Rec to discuss this, potential expansion. They wanted to put pickleball courts in the area of the volleyball court. So that's, I guess it's pretty good. If you look at the next sheet, I think it might be a little bit better, which shows the aerial, gives you an idea. What we've done is taken the as-built plan done by Norfolk County engineers for the town and just kind of pop these on here to give you an idea of the scope and size of the project. So as Rich said, one of the questions that I have as a consultant is, you know, what level of effort do I have to put into this? Is this going to be, does this require site plan, public hearings? Is it going to have third-party review for it? Or is it more informal? I don't know how the board handles these things, so that was a question that I had for Rich. Really what we're doing is, this will be a paved area over an area that for the most part is, a little bit of it is paved now, but for the most part it's either sand or grass. So we would handle that. We would handle that stormwater, which I know is always a concern and a question, just in that general area. At first I was thinking, do I have to redo the whole stormwater for this site? And I said, no, I don't need to. I can just deal with it as if it was dedicated to this area. So any additional runoff, I'm sure what we could do is either handle it through some type of low-impact development. Again, like Rich just talked about, we had to deal with that up in the salt shed. We did a rain garden there, so it infiltrated in, or maybe if the soils aren't good, we'd have to do something more elaborate. There's probably no difference as far as parking goes. Density, I'm guessing that this would be used mostly people my age, you know, during the day. They're not going to be there on Saturday when all the kids are playing soccer and football or baseball.
Oh, you'd be surprised. They fill up 4 kicks on a regular basis on the weekends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, could be an issue then. This is not going to be lit or anything like that. We wouldn't be talking about any change to the parking area, since you can see that the parking area is kind of maxed out already. One of the comments that was made, or one of the thoughts that we had, there's a walkway that goes toward the old, what is that area called? Where the skateboard park was. Now it's just a concrete pad, and then it goes toward the back there. And one of the thoughts was, perhaps during this construction, that gravel area could be fixed up so that people with handicap accessibility, I guess, is an issue out there. So that would be probably regraded in that area, maybe expand to service also the courts to the rear there. And that's really the scope.
So, why is the pickleball court so close? I mean, it's right up against the existing, I don't know, sidewalk that's there.
Right, it's practically on the curb.
And not pushed back a little bit away from the curb.
Yeah, we could push that back away. What we were trying to do is make it accessible. So that area there is paved. You get off, there's a sidewalk. Excuse me for my voice. There's a sidewalk there, so you'd be able to go walk right onto it. But yeah, we could move it back and pick up another 5 feet or so.
And is this enclosed, or how do you stop the ball from going out in the parking lot?
There will be, excuse me, there will be fence included.
Okay.
Just for the record, can you get closer to the microphone and introduce yourself?
Rob Taglianti, I'm the chair of the Recreation Commission.
Thank you.
So the perimeter of that pad that's there will be fenced?
Yeah, I think the intention is to fence in the entire area with the exception of the access for the ramps,
Okay.
walkways.
Right. So your intent was, the intent right now is put it right up against the sidewalk so that you don't have to build a sidewalk to go to access it for accessibility. I'm a little concerned that it is so close to the existing sidewalk at the entrance, because that's the entrance. That's that curved area where there's no parking there. It's just more of a drop off. And so that's my concern, is it's right there.
Yeah, I think we could
push
set it
back a little bit.
I mean, also thinking about it from a use perspective, like, not that it's amazingly important, but that's the ice cream spot after games, right? Like, that's where everybody's crowding, and so that can create an egress issue into and out of the court and that space as well. I don't know if you've been there for a Saturday day of soccer, but, you know, kids can get pretty contentious when it comes to ice cream as well. And having them in such tight quarters on that little itty-bitty slab of concrete might be an issue.
How tall is the fence?
I do not recall. Do you remember? I'd have to check with Ann.
Additionally, just, I know the monument that we have, the flagpole and everything, is just to the plan east of that as well. And it, you know, from an aesthetics perspective, having it up and so close and to that feels a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
And detracts from the purpose of what that memorial is for.
And I'd like to see it kind of centered in over top of where the existing volleyball court is. That's moving it back more than 5-10 feet, but it probably aesthetically would look better if it was pretty much centered right on top of where the existing volleyball court is. Because then you're not so tight and encroaching on the parking lot.
Yeah, moving it back is not an issue.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're saying back and to the right a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like back into the, I mean, it doesn't necessarily even have to go to the right, but just back, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it just goes straight back, you're contending with the existing shed that's
Right.
there as well, which becomes another issue.
I don't think the shed is on here.
It's on the plan. You can see it right there.
Oh, yeah, there is the
Yeah, there's another existing building there.
That was,
There's a
like
little
this-
shed.
Little shed, yeah.
Okay.
Hard to see on the aerial.
Yeah, I do see it on the aerial.
Well, it
yeah.
wouldn't need to go back that far anyway. I mean, that's
It'd
pretty
be
far.
Pretty close to it.
But
Where's the entrance to the shed?
it's on the
Street side,
plan
or-
east side.
Towards the pavilion.
Okay,
Yeah.
towards the pavilion. Okay, so
if you look at
But that's
this, so the
probably movable.
court is 60 feet, right? Or 74?
74.
74. So that's like about halfway more. So say it's like 35 feet away. I mean, even if it went back, 15 feet, that would still give a lot more space up front right there.
Right.
That's fair.
Yep. Okay.
As long as it's
So-
still accessible. I think that was the whole point,
Right.
right? You even have the accessible court here
Right.
too.
And then you were talking about the path, so that's on the,
Kind of follows
You can
the
see
course
it.
of the baseball field.
right, not on the drawing without the arrow. I do see it going back, so
Right.
you were talking about just kind of cleaning it up and regrading it, or?
Well, what that, I haven't been out there, but what Ann was telling us was there's a handicap accessibility issue with it.
Okay.
So it's grading and there's some lips in there, and I guess the material is just washed away, so you can't get
Okay.
down there.
Okay.
And it's an additional issue considering we've consolidated all of the porta potties on that concrete platform. So from an access perspective, it is difficult.
And there's funding to do that?
So the additional ramp was kind of a recent thought, based on discussions, like specifically soccer with a lot of grandparents trying to get down there. The access is terrible,
Yeah.
Yep.
in addition to the handicap stuff. But this diagram here has already gone through Recreation CPC in the last town meeting. So the funding is there, is set in that place for now.
Okay.
Yeah, the second part is a second project, but the thought being they're gonna come in and get this approved, might as well show it on the plan, so that way
Gotcha.
at least it's there, and then if you get the money, you can just pull the trigger to do the work.
Got it.
You're not
Yep,
supposed
makes
to
sense.
have to come back.
So one of the questions you were asking is what are we looking for as a board? I mean, it's a pretty simple project.
I think we should at least have Beta review, just like to do the storm calcs and make sure that we're not causing any issues. Because, I mean, the natural path for the runoff is that
Yep,
pathway.
it is that
and that's why
pathway.
everything's running down anyway. So there's, consideration that needs to be made.
So, Rich, in the past, what have we done on projects like this? Or do you not, I mean, these come across so infrequently.
Frequently. Well, obviously, the salt shed was a much more involved project.
It was
Yeah.
different, yeah.
I probably would say what I could do is talk to Beta about the scope of the project and what would make sense to review it, not provide some comfort, but not do certainly not the detail they had to do with the salt shed, which was a much more involved project.
Right. And I think Mr. Buckley hit it on the head. I don't think we need to consider parking or anything of that measure.
Yeah.
For me, it's literally just making sure that we're treating the water that would otherwise have been recouped into the soil appropriately, and we're not causing other issues downstream.
I think that makes, my question would be, so Anne mentioned, I believe at the town meeting, that there was an issue with I don't know if it was the material that was used for the tennis court. It didn't hold up as well, I believe, as she thought it should have. She said there were some issues from when it was installed. So how do we know that the materials that we're going to use for the tennis court won't have that same, for the pickleball court, I mean?
So this pickleball system mimics the same construction that they recently did at the Walpole Recreation Complex on 1A. Same contractor and everything. The existing tennis courts, from many discussions with her, we looked at a bunch of different locations, that specifically being one of them, and nobody will touch that because it's in such bad shape. So that at some point needs to be completely jacked out and redone or converted into something else.
So it's just
peeling.
in disrepair, but not necessarily, I
Yeah.
thought she said it was just not done well from the beginning. I'm not sure exactly, but just something to
here
keep
when
in
it-
mind.
Yeah.
Just, who's going to review to make sure that this material is what we should be using. I could be speaking out of turn. I know she said there was an issue with the material. I don't know if it's because it's just in such bad disrepair or if it was done not the way it should have been from the beginning, so just something to keep in
Yeah,
mind.
I know it's old, I wasn't here when that one was done, but this is just gonna be asphalt. So, and then with highway graphic, level, basically just courts. It's nothing really,
Pretty simple.
yeah.
Yeah. Going for any tournament quality installations here, right?
Well, you never know.
Well, I guess that's the ask.
Yeah. At the risk of your knees. It's up to you.
All right, so Rich.
So Ann's not here tonight because she's at Park and Rec conference, just so you know. Otherwise, she would be here to
Okay.
answer those questions for you. But I think when they come back in, she certainly can answer in terms of on how they would execute this project.
So you had a question about whether it was worthy of a public hearing.
Yeah.
It sounds like some of these are contentious. There are neighbors across the street from this, and I have heard issues about the sound that this generates. It's more than, or it becomes annoying once it is continuous.
It's a hot topic on community Facebook pages.
I don't know much about it, but I think it could be. So I don't know that should be waived.
No, I think because it is a public facility, I think we do need to have a public hearing for it. And
Agreed.
public hearing, see what Beta comes back with as
Okay.
far as an overview, and then I'd kind of like to understand what their thoughts were for site plans, how detailed they want as well, because that'll kind of help dictate what level of review they're looking for.
Okay. All right, I'll do a little homework.
But I think that was it, right?
You answered
Public
the
hearing,
question, yeah.
site plans, third-party review, Those were the kind of the three big asks.
Yeah. And I think we'll, in part, we'll talk to Anne's in terms of what, what level of plans contractors are gonna expect to have too, right? When you put it out to get it constructed. Is it? You can start from that point and then go from there.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
Any other questions from anybody?
So many, but not in line.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Appreciate your
Thank you so
time.
much.
All right.
All right, Rich, so we have town planner updates.
We'll stick with them in order.
All right.
Put up.
We have 4 to 6 Hill Street, proposed 40B, 59 units.
That's that HE property, right?
Yes. Yep. So,
And this is just their one combined lot area, not necessarily going into course consortium with anyone else who's an adjacent.
no, they're
property, or-
alone. Yeah, it's
They're
a
off on their
standalone
own.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. So just in terms of background, there's sort of. Let me start.
I'd like to start.
Yeah, let's see. Let me look at the plan so we can see which one we want to start with. So, Hunter Environmental owns 4 and 6 Hill Street. 4 Hill Street is a single-family home. 6 Hill Street is a commercial space metal building on Hill Street. The owner, Nathaniel Hunter, has applied for a project eligibility letter for a rental 40B project at 4 and 6 Hill Street. The number of units, that kind of gives you, let me see. Should have been ready to go, sorry.
43 Market, 16 affordable.
Yep. Total
Yeah.
59.
Total 59, as it being a rental project, that this would, going through the ZBA process, if they approve it at that number, we would receive all the numbers, all the units would count, market and affordable, because it's a rental project. I want to get to, let me see, just to tell you.
And what's safe harbor for?
So safe harbor for 1 year is 0.5%, which is equivalent to 18 units, and 2 years is 36 units.
Okay.
So if this were to be approved by the ZBA, then we'd be in safe harbor for 2 years.
And you can't do more safe harbor than 2 years? That's
No, 2 years is
2
the
years is the
max.
max? Okay.
Yep. If we go to... So similarly, as we had done, excuse me, earlier in the year, it's being forwarded, yeah, it's a good plan there, we just want to rotate it, so we, presenting it before you for any comments that you may want to have, that can be forwarded on to Mass Housing, who they've sought a site eligibility letter. In terms of background, it is the C1D district, which does allow multifamily housing there, as you recall, not anywhere near the density that would be equivalent to a 40B. The proposed site is also coincides with the district as well. Again, similarly, not at the density of the MBTA zoning, because that's at 18 units
per acre.
Per acre, yeah.
So that'd be 36, and this is 59. for 2
59,
acres.
so, the building is a multi-story building. It's 4 stories on the east side, and to the west side, it's 5 stories. They've designed it to go into the grade of the hill, so you'll see a difference. It has a, a U-shaped access. It's proposed to, at the moment, less than 2 of the minimum required parking spaces under the bylaw. And if you go to,
Where are they putting all the septic?
the septic is, if you see the little red dot to the
Left.
on the left-hand side, it's there.
Right there?
Yeah, in that general area.
I'm also concerned about trash and snow removal.
Yeah. The sizing of this project keeps it under 10,000 gallons a day, so we'll be on a on-site septic system for it,
Okay.
in terms of the wastewater goes. We'll be connected to town water. And I think if I want to show you.
I mean, that's pursuant to the perk test passing, right?
Yeah.
They haven't done any preliminary wells or anything to test the soil?
No.
No. Not yet. I'm just gonna scroll through and then we can show up the architectural elevations, so.
And then storm water.
Stormwater, infiltration, or not, more of an underground Caltech system. Let's see. So
There's
if
a
you
lot
go,
going on in 2 acres.
Yeah.
yeah, if you go to page 40, start at 40.
Yeah, I don't see, Chris, you'd mentioned trash. I don't see dumpster
Right.
locations. I mean, there definitely should be a.
Oh, no, you can do yours.
And I don't see the location
I
of where
thought
the
they were
transformer is
looking
going
at
to
it
be for
one-
power.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the level of detail that, it's not on the plans as of yet, which will become as it comes forward in terms of,
Here's another.
yeah, it's kind of an overview.
So I'm assuming the intent is to just push the snow up and over the curb and out.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, in terms of the,
Or unless unless there's maybe a push out they could add in that U shape in the back.
Yeah. Not really planning for that 10-year storm that we get every once in a while.
Which I'm kind of shocked because he does snow removal, right?
Yes,
So,
100%.
yeah, and those are, those are the type of questions that still are open and need to be answered, but, so it gives you,
wow.
It looks nice.
Yeah, the elevation view looks cool.
so again, that's east side, which is showing the 4 stories. If you look, so the top of that, architectural element where the clock is
Yep.
what's it say there?
56.
56 feet.
It's not above that's above the maximum, right?
Yeah, it is above the maximum, which is 40 feet. So they will be seeking a waiver from the, under the zoning bylaw. If you go to the next, which is the south facing.
I'm just thinking about the grade that's going to be visible from a distance.
Yeah, so he did contact me yesterday and said that he has a boom that, you use with the lift.
Yeah.
He's he'll let me know, so I'll let everybody know you can swing by, but he's gonna put it up at the height,
Wow.
so you can at least visually get a sense of,
Yeah.
how high it would be on the site.
Okay.
Can we maybe wait till leaves are down and you could see it from different views, different angles?
That'll be in about 2 weeks, sir.
It depends what kind of trees.
Yeah, so if you
Oak,
scroll
you won't.
down just a tad bit, so on the lower right-hand side, that's the elevation facing Hill Street,
Okay.
what you would see.
And so then the clock is towards the rail trail.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So if you go through the application, there's a lot of, the architect went through took a lot of architectural cues from the Pondville area. In the application, there's a whole history of Pondville architecture, so they try to reflect it in that building design. That's,
I love that he thought to do that.
what's that?
I said, I love that he thought to do that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
If you
It's not just a box.
It's not just a box. If you go down one more, then. So again, that's the side which shows which is 5 stories.
No, that little sliver on the side, that might be the trash.
I mean, it kind of looks like an old warehouse that was renovated.
Right.
Yeah,
Which are my favorite. I love
Yeah.
those. Like an old mill type of
Yeah.
place.
Right. It's
It's pretty.
impressive.
so a few different things that we've do is to, excuse me, hold the neighborhood meeting before actually, coming in in terms of, before applying to the zoning board of appeals.
Okay.
So the neighborhood gets opportunity to learn more about it firsthand and not through a public hearing notice. So they are working on, excuse me, doing that. It hasn't been scheduled yet. I'm recovering from pneumonia, so sorry.
It's okay.
So public involvement, get the public involved.
Public
before.
involvement, yes.
He's gonna put a boom out there at the height, the top of the clock tower, I guess you call it, so we can see that.
Correct.
Any concerns from an environmental perspective with regards to how the site's been used over the years?
I don't think so.
Well, 4 is just it's a ranch house. 6, I don't remember, what kind of commercial property is that?
It's earth removal, but also like,
He stores equipment.
Contractor yard.
Basically.
yeah, equipment,
stores
so like,
equipment.
there could be fuel spillage, there could be chemicals for de-icing, things like that. We could pull whatever permits they have from an environmental perspective if you
Yeah,
need.
certainly know when he gets into the construction of it, it's good.
Just want to make sure it's a safe place for people to live at the end of the day.
I understand. Yeah. Those will,
I think it's just a matter of, is the site gonna accommodate? I think we talked about it. Where's he gonna put the snow? Where's the trash? Is the septic gonna work?
yep.
Entrance and exit for that street is important. It's a very busy, congested street to begin with.
And it's narrow.
Very
Yeah, it's narrow and it's in poor condition too. so-
non-conforming.
Right. So the street is certainly an issue.
So does then that force DPW to do street improvements on the street because of that?
But I think the hope would be to have some development
Assistance with that.
assistance with improving the area. We know there's certainly stormwater issues on Hill Street. We've seen that. And then also in terms of just pedestrian too, I mean, there's not, there's no sidewalks or anything like that there. There is a little bit of that sidewalk at the Pond Medical Center, but then, there's nothing along Valley, Valley Street out to Pine Street, which, once you get to Pine Street, there is a sidewalk.
Right.
And there is, there are commercial businesses within the area that, having good pedestrian access would be important to be able to walk to, for sure. There's the medical, for sure. There's, Four Kicks obviously is close by.
gas stations.
Plaza there, there's a restaurant, I mean, there's definitely,
It's a good location. I like the fact that it's kind of tucked away,
yeah.
to be honest, but it's segregated from the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah,
If there's a way to like bring it in and make it a part of it as opposed to just hiding it in the woods, so to speak,
yeah.
that'd be nice. Okay.
So you're not obligated, but if you want to have if you have any particular comments you want to share along, I know we talked about the environmental, is there anything else that, because I'm assembling comments from different departments and I'm going to submit them to.
Environmental, power, snow removal, street conditions, making it more part of the business district from an access perspective if possible. Traffic concerns, but overall positive sentiment from the board, I believe.
And engage the public.
Yeah.
You know, they're very,
The neighborhood, yeah.
they're a very vocal, lively community over there,
Right.
and so they need to be given forewarning before anything happens.
Gary, anything from you?
Yeah, I don't really share the optimism or positivity on this one. It's kind of boilerplate, and there's a lot of empty units in Walpole and Norwood that look just like this, but, I'm all for affordable, dense housing, so it seems like a good place for it. And, to the points that have already been raised here, my main concern would be traffic, and, as long as we're looking at that and some of the other potential for environmental impacts, then that would satisfy me, I think. And then just another vote for community involvement, just so they have the right feedback.
Yeah.
And the people are going to be more apt to speak up and discuss these things.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Gary.
You have a very valid point with regards to Walpole and the empty units there. I don't know, maybe there's a mention of that as well, just for consideration. And those are right by the train station as well, so like from an accessibility perspective, it doesn't get more accessible than that.
They have a pretty high vacancy at,
That's what I'm understanding from Gary's comment.
Yep. I mean, that could be, listen, I'm not in that market anymore, so it could be situational for a million different reasons. I'm just saying, we're seeing a lot of these pop up, and it's not like they're selling like gangbusters, but Norfolk could be the place to go. So I don't know, because I don't have research in front of me.
okay.
It depends too, a lot of times, on the cost. The cost for rent these days is what a mortgage used to be. So a lot of times I've seen from family members that have been looking at apartments, they're, $3,000, $3,500, and that's not, it's not like we have 3-bedroom units, unless this is going to be that one that happens to have that. It's usually 2-bedroom units, $3,500 a month.
A smattering of 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, it has a minimum, they have to have 10% of them have to be 3-bedroom, but it just has
Because it's an
minimum.
MBTA district. Yeah, so that would be great to have some of them. But I think generally it's, if you look at a lot of them, I didn't really know a nice way to say this, but a lot of developers cut corners. I don't know that that's the case with him. But if you walk into a lot of them, they're like, I wouldn't want to pay $3,500 to live in something that has just cheap carpet, like none of the finishings are necessarily very nice. The nicer they are, the more, of course, people want to live there, but then the price goes up.
Right, yeah. And good note on the MBTA piece, we might want to have them consider a shuttle or something between the commuter rail, either Foxborough or Norfolk.
Oh, yeah.
Or both, whatever suits the population better. But that would help alleviate traffic significantly as well.
Sounds pretty amazing. I might move there.
All right. Well, before you move there, it's 3 bedrooms, 36
actually it's not terrible these days,
Okay.
as long as it's nice.
Still have mortgage.
For 1,439 square feet, give or take. Yeah, not inexpensive, but, all right. Well, I got enough comments that I'll put them together and submit them on behalf of the.
And you're reaching out to, you said the other departments, DPW?
Yeah, we actually
fire,
have a, yeah, we do. We have a meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Similar. Comment deadline is October 18th.
Okay.
Gary, where is the development that you're talking about? Is it right by the Walpole station, or did you say Norwood? Or both? Both?
Yeah, Norwood Depot, and then the one in Walpole.
Okay. I'm gonna look up those ones.
Yeah, I will too.
Do call arounds, ask for occupancy, send your, just trying to do your own thing.
Due diligence. Okay. All right.
All right, Rich.
Covers that topic.
That's not our purview anyway. I was just thinking out loud, but yeah, that's not our purview. More than willing, if they pay attention to the details that we brought up, I'm more than willing to entertain this and support it.
Okay.
All right. Next topic, little special town meeting,
Town meeting.
November 12th.
We have a couple articles.
Why do
Articles.
we call it a special town meeting if we always have 2 of them a year?
So that we feel good
It's
about
not
it.
the annual town meeting?
What's that?
It's not the annual town meeting?
One is the annual, the other one's a special, but we have it every year, so it's not that special.
It's not, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Should we rename it?
Just fall and spring.
I'd like to make a recommendation to the,
Make it a semi-annual?
to the select board to look at possibly renaming that. Because Melissa's right, it's always bothered me too. I'm like, why is it special? It's,
Special, very
we have it
special.
every year.
I'm gonna take a guess.
I'm sure there's a history behind it.
Yeah, as if they probably maybe didn't have that many meetings years and years ago. So they were special, but now they're
Not so special.
not so special.
I mean, like, we had a meeting in January for the fire station a couple years.
Well, that's special.
couple years.
That
That
was
was special.
Right.
That was special.
Right.
This is predictable. It's not
Right.
special. Just throwing it out there.
Wasn't Gary part of the government study committee?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, we did not look at naming conventions for for a town meeting, but I think there are different town meeting types.
Yeah.
And like this is, like, when we say special town meeting, we actually talk about, like the spring is the annual town meeting and the fall is the special town meeting, and that's the traditional nomenclature, but I forget the specifics.
And maybe all
between.
towns do it this way. I don't know. I'm just, maybe that's normal. I don't know.
Maybe we should do it
Well,
differently.
if you
make it
can
make sense.
imagine a town, 60 years ago with a smaller budget and less like that and less services, then maybe you just needed the annual town meeting, and the special town meeting in the fall is an artifact of just the largeness of
Right.
the towns as Massachusetts grew.
Well, in terms of preparing for that special town meeting.
Yeah, that's not really why we were going to talk about it, but
The
yes.
topic is, so I'll be advisory tomorrow night via Zoom.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and then, excuse me, moderator's meeting is at 28th. We do have, if you went on the website, there is a blue line version of the zoning changes available for residents to take a peek at. I know that Bill Buckley from GFI Partners will be at advisory tomorrow night. And we can, a little bit of time to prepare for the 12th. I know you won't be
I'll be out of town the 12th, so I will not be at the town meeting.
Yes.
I think I was tapped for speaking, right?
Chris is going to do a fantastic job.
His speaking points. So Chris, we should talk soon, because I know Jay will want to know at the moderators meeting what their slides and presentations.
What day is the moderators meeting?
October 28th.
Excuse me.
Do you need me for that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I've only
No.
attended maybe half of them. I think well, let's go through the articles and let's talk about, do we need slides for any of them? I mean, that's the next step, is
Yeah.
what do we need to do to prepare? So we've got, so what's the first article? We've got, it's been so while since we did the public hearings.
So technically, the first article is the C6 zoning,
Okay,
because that one's, they placed it fifth in terms of the article order,
yep.
and then Article 10, 11, 12 is for the accessory buildings. I'm not sure we need slides for that. It's pretty straightforward. And then half story and story, I think, are pretty.
Well, we need the slide for that, come on.
I think we're really talking about what, to what degree slides you need for.
Visuals always help. I just don't know. I mean, if we're going to have handouts anyway, should we just put it up on the big screen? Like these documents here that are already created. We don't think we have to reinvent the wheel, but just copy these into some slides so that we can talk to them and make them big on the screen.
We could. I mean, we've always provided the use table as a handout, just because it's a lot easier to read as a handout than it is in the warrant.
Right.
Do we want to provide the blue line as well? That's a maybe.
So I think I was thinking in terms of handouts, the the blue lines of
Right.
both, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the blue line for this Article 12, C6 zoning,
Yep.
and then the use table, which is blue too, which is,
Right.
pops a little bit,
Yeah, and it's clean.
and it's clean, as color handouts. I think those are
Yeah.
good for people to have.
I
We
think-
could have a slide, couple slides in terms of like, okay, this is what GFI is thinking in terms of a commercial industrial development, so people can see it, if they haven't had opportunity to see it, have a slide or two. I think the video's a little, probably too much for town meeting.
Yeah, no video. No video, that's too much.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's just
I
the
think-
renderings.
Yeah, I think Bill's he had slides with just we
Yeah.
could just take a couple slides.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe an intro on why are we here?
Yep.
It's like, why are we here to talk about the C6? And it's kind of like, bring everybody up to speed if you've been living under a rock or in a cave.
Yeah, and making sure that we are bringing up the fact that this doesn't mean that if it's in determined. Does allow other things in there as well to progress in a different way, should they decide to. And so that it's a net benefit for everything there.
Do we want to take a page or something to go through the fact that if something like this goes forward, then the toxicity would be remediated and potential commercial tax revenues? If we want to show the path forward, that might be a good thing to put in there.
Yeah,
Well, that's on Bill's, Bill's got the slide deck that he did at the public hearing. I think we can take those slides, and there's a slide in there that talks about the tax, and there will be remediation cleanup, that will be part of it. It's kind of kind of the chicken or the egg, right? You can't, he's got to clean it up and build it, but he's got to make sure it's economically feasible to do so. And if he doesn't have the zoning in place, he doesn't know if he has the economic feasibility to move forward.
Yeah, and I just, the only thing is I don't want it to just be painted as the zoning change for 111 Dedham, right? Like, I want to be conscious, yes, that's the 95% of the occupation is that, but I don't want it to be seen as this is only being done. Since it is there, these are the benefits that we will get from these zoning changes.
I don't know if I draw attention to that per se, but you're right. If it comes up, you say, well, these zoning changes are in alignment with some of our other commercial zoning districts that we have.
Right.
It's not.
That's where I would start.
Yeah.
Yes, I would start from the and through net us if you go to slide.
That's just like $1 million something.
Right, nets us a projected annual tax revenue of $1.03 million, increases the projected site valuation, and so on and so forth from that perspective.
It cleans up
It almost writes itself, come on.
Well, it cleans up a contaminated site.
Yep.
It creates jobs in our town. We're going to have permit fees, tax revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a huge win-win for the town.
It becomes an unlocking of potential for that location. That's the tagline, we need bumper stickers.
That's the tagline. Yep. I'm throwing money at the bumper sticker idea.
All right, so slides, I would say we can reuse most of the, we'll have to make sure Bill's okay with us reusing these. I don't want to just use them without
Yeah.
his permission, because they're not our slides, they're his.
Right. No,
Do we want him to present this in conjunction with Chris? I think Chris should do it, and have Bill there to answer questions.
I want to make sure that we don't turn it into a Southwood Hospital question and answer session. I want to be very careful about that, and I know Jay will be very on top of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, though, that is the opportunity that people will take. So, because, they don't always come to planning board meetings, and people are busy. So I think when they come to town meeting, they expect that we'll be able to answer their questions. So can we put out, and you mentioned before that these documents are on the website, which is great. I think we should make an announcement letting people know what we have that's available for them to prepare, and maybe put the link to a meeting where Bill went through all of these slides so that we don't have to, because he even talked about all of the effort that he put in working with the neighbors around there and the community, and why, through surveys, he narrowed down what the town wanted to be over there. He's been a true partner in this. And so I think all of that is really useful information, but letting people know that ahead of the meeting, they should watch the meeting that we had previously, where he went through all of this, I think would be helpful. Then also, just so that we don't have to, because the Q&A session will happen at town meeting if we don't do that. It might anyway.
It's going to happen.
I wish I had more time, because it would almost be good to get like 1 or 2 testimonials that we could record and have them presented, or like a message from the PIP group, whether or not they were in the affirmative of the direction that this was going. And I hear some
So they're gonna, so Kate's actually, they're gonna be putting out another newsletter prior to town meeting, so could certainly
Mention it there.
mention there in terms of information.
I think it would be good to just give an overview, like, look, this didn't happen overnight. So, this property was purchased 2.5 years ago, right? Or was it longer than that?
Well, it's 3 now.
3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we have a GFI Partners has worked with the town over these years, has done all this public involvement, And now we're at the point to talk about zoning for this property. And it's a commercial property, and so we looked at the zoning, make sure it's in alignment with the other commercial property in town, and go from there. And yes, it's contaminated. And developing this property will fund the cleanup.
Right.
Yeah, and, I mean, does it make mention that
And I think-
shifted away from residential too, so, because.
Yeah, and I think it's also good to point out, it's like this is the only area in our town that is zone C6. It's this right here. So what you're voting on for zoning changes is contained to this location.
Yeah, I think we start from that macro and then dive into it
Yep.
more. Happy to work on some slides for it if you want to put together some bullet points that you make sure I hit. Anybody else on the board wants to shoot over some bullet points?
I think I got some, because it was, a lot of what I just said was similar to how I opened up the public meeting and closed the public meeting. So
Yeah.
I'll kind of send that over
And
to
then I
you.
can take information and some graphics from his presentation.
Yeah,
If you want anybody to review or comment,
Absolutely.
medical leave for 3 weeks, so I'm more than happy to take some time and give feedback.
All right.
okay.
Fit in with a developer that was going to be in place before town meeting.
In terms of the zoning, you mean? or-
Yeah, so when he talked to us, the goal, the understanding was there'd be a developer agreement between the town, signed in place and available for everybody to review and see.
So they're still working on it right now with the board?
An exhibit that could be
Imagine-
included or
What's that?
displayed. How's that shared, or is that on us to make that available to them, or?
So right now, it hasn't been publicly shared yet.
Hopefully
To
they
the
have.
select board, hopefully have it, no,
Hopefully it's
maybe
done
next
before town
week.
meeting.
Yeah,
If it isn't, it would be a nice thing to note anyway.
yeah. So it would be shared publicly, in, anticipation to have it done, or the expectation, I guess, or however you want to say it, prior to town meeting, which was shared.
I know that was the expectation I had mentioned to GFI and also to the select board, was to come to an agreement and get that wrapped up before town meetings, that,
But we can't speak to it because we don't
no.
know anything about it yet, so we can't.
Well, we know it's in the
Endorse it, or-
we know it's in the works.
Well, in terms of speaking to it, that would really be in the select board, town administrators'
Yeah, it's not on us.
ball to,
Yeah.
because because the developer's agreement is between, it's not,
It's not
you're
between
not
us.
part of the
Right.
in terms of
Right.
the planning end of it.
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with our zoning, right?
It goes hand in hand, but you're not part of it because you're gonna end up, eventually to be before you to permit a project, so.
That would, and I think I have a bullet point in there too, it's like, that would be the other thing we want to mention, is like, approving the zoning does not mean
Project moves
the
forward.
the project move forward. It still has to come to the planning board for site plan approval.
Yeah, so like a what next slide would be good to have, like, what happens after this gets approved? This is what we would look at from a steps perspective. Not necessarily providing timelines, but like,
Yeah, just more of a next step.
Right.
Yep, that makes sense.
Although Bill did give rough timelines of at least when he thought it would be,
We did. We asked, yeah.
yeah, for the development itself, so we could share the information that we have.
Yep. Because pipeline, everything right now has been conceptual.
right.
So,
But we have things on our side that we need to take care of as well. There's still that open question about whether or not the deed restriction,
Well, the deed restriction will need to be,
but how is up to question. Is it just a town vote, or is it like at the State House level that they have to do it? Or is it both?
it's actually the
Or state? and then us?
question is the reverse.
Select-
It's definitely,
selectmen only,
it's
or is
definitely
it-
the state level. The question is whether it needs, what does it, if anything, at the local level, actually.
Right.
it
Yeah.
could just be the select board recommends it to be
Right.
removed, and we don't have to do a town vote. We don't know. I mean, we could do it. It would probably be above and beyond and look good to do a town vote, but may not be necessary.
Right.
Do you,
So we've got.
did you want to set up, yeah, did you want to have a meeting, maybe a meeting before town meeting? If you wanted to kind of touch base on all this stuff, or you feel like just roll from here to end? You know what I mean? If you
I
want
mean,
to,
set up a well,
Yeah, just-
we should schedule a meeting like an
Yeah,
hour or
yeah.
two before town meeting,
do it
but
prior to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, a week
To go
ahead
through
or
the
something?
slides.
to go through the slides, like a week or,
Yeah, just to kind of,
so we have 4 weeks, right?
yeah.
So do we want to set up a meeting for, say, 2 weeks from now or something, or 3 weeks from now?
We could do a Zoom too. It doesn't necessarily have to be in
Yeah, I'm
person.
fine with that.
We
You
can do
know,
that.
something like that.
But I would recommend that we do set up a planning board meeting, like, say, an hour before town meeting, or an hour and a
Yeah.
half, or whatever we did last time worked out really well.
Yeah, to post it for town meeting.
Yep,
Yep.
that worked out really well,
Okay.
just so we were all together, we talked, we were prepared, and
Yep. Okay.
we should just make that a standard practice. I know advisory does, but they have to do it for other reasons.
Select board does as well, right?
The select board does
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right, we'll do that. I think that makes sense.
And do you want to look at calendar
Yes.
for,
Yeah.
So we want to lock this in probably the week of the 28th. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Because I'm traveling the week of the 21st.
me too. That's if Florida's not completely devastated. I'm supposed to be at a wedding that week.
Fingers crossed. Can we look at the 29th? I'm open then.
Yep. 29th?
I got a grunt from Rich. That's not good.
No, that wasn't a grunt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's fine.
A good day?
That's a good day.
All right. You good?
Sorry. Didn't mean that.
So I would say, though, that would be to review what we have. We need to prepare it before that, so we let Jay know at the moderator meeting what our intentions are. And then we can modify that based upon his comments.
Yeah.
Because the moderator meeting's on
28.
the 28th. Yep.
All right. So we should plan to have something prepared. Hold
We
on.
should have our drafts by, I guess, the end of next week. You and I are both out the week of the 21st.
Yeah, next week.
Like I said, if you have that you want to make sure that's represented in there, send it to me.
Yep.
And if I
So the 29th at 7 o'clock, will it just be via Zoom, or is it going to be in person?
Zoom.
Zoom?
Easy way. Zoom.
Okay. And then that's the only item on the agenda?
No,
No.
I think it's to review everything. It would be to review everything. Oh, the only
town
item
No,
would
any
be,
hearings or any other.
the only item would be just to
Right.
review.
Town meeting. That's
Town meeting.
topic.
Town,
Just
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, one
Yep,
topic.
yep. There's multiple warrant articles, but yes, the only agenda items to review.
Prepare for town meeting?
Yep.
Yeah.
So handouts will be the blue lines. handouts will be the blue lines, we'll do some slides. We'll need to ask, we'll send any thoughts to Chris. We'll need to ask Bill for permission to use his slides. And you're gonna get with Justin and Select Board and ask them where the status is on the
Developer agreement?
developer agreement.
Yeah.
And then I would also ask, are they planning on making an announcement, like at town meeting, like during this, or at the beginning, or just, if it comes up?
What do you mean?
Well, are they gonna say, hey, we...
The select board, you mean?
Yeah, the select. board,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
All right, yeah, I gotta ask Justin.
yeah.
Oh, if they.
If they wanna,
Say
just, if they wanna say anything when this article hits the floor, it's like, by the way,
Right, gotcha.
we have entered into a developer agreement
Yep.
with GFI Partners for this property, and now we'll let the planning board go into
So
the
I think
details.
they've announced that it would be available for people, once, I don't know if it's once it's signed or once it's
Yes.
available, it's
Available.
Public.
For public view, yes.
So saying that at the
so
beginning,
surprising people at town meeting that there is a agreement is not
Right.
the way to go.
I don't think we bring it
Maybe
up.
we just are silent about it
Yeah.
and not, and if it comes up in conversation, that's when we mention it.
yeah.
But I'm just trying to hide it, it's just
No.
No, it's not,
it's
not
not
something.
relevant. It's not
I
relevant.
think that might be a downfall if you
Right.
don't announce it, then you've got people saying, well, you could have shared this ahead of time.
Right, well, even at the end of the presentation, Chris could mention it, it doesn't have to be the select board necessarily, he could say, or then maybe you mentioned that they have entered into an agreement or whatever it is, but it doesn't seem like the time to
It doesn't
announce
feel
that.
surprising to me. They're the property owners. They bought it with the intent to develop, and we've been working in a public forum with them for quite some time.
So I don't mind it being talked about. I think it's, it shouldn't be the first thing that they hear when you say, like, if you
Right.
think about,
Just incorporate it into the slides.
Yeah, like
No,
if you think about it
100%,
from like
like-
an average person that doesn't come to our meetings, doesn't work in construction. If you say, we've entered into a developer agreement, and then you're going through all these things that we want them to approve, they're like, well, it's already in the bag. You've already agreed to this. That's what it sounds like.
100%.
When it's not that. So I just don't want it to come across poorly.
Yep. And maybe you provide some separation there, some checks and balances. You say the select board and the town has entered into a developer agreement. But that again, and that goes into but that doesn't preclude the planning board from approving the site plans. They still have to come to us.
Yeah, we still have right to refuse.
Yeah.
So all the site plans will still be reviewed.
No, that's a valid point. I probably should think it through how you do it, because your point taken, right? So if it's just.
Well, that's why we're
you
talking,
just,
yeah.
right, you pop in, like, oh, well, this is already done.
We'll take a look at the
Right.
slides. We'll
Yeah.
have ample time for feedback, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, because the thing is, you're not compelled to have a developer's agreement.
Right.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's not, like, it's not a
No,
requirement.
it's
So we-
nice to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't understand whether or not we should. I don't think we should say it.
Right.
personally.
It's like a,
I don't think it adds anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it adds a ton of value or not.
Yeah.
But
Does anybody know what it is?
I think it muddies and confuses more than it provides value, personally. Especially since it's optional, it's not a requirement.
My side of it is just that that's what he presented,
Right,
that's
right.
what was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from his perspective, though, like, he's trying to show, like, alignment with other boards in the town to get us on board as well.
it's a good, yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's why we're
That's why we're
doing what we're doing.
That's what we're talking.
That's why we're
brainstorming.
doing
Yeah.
a meeting and prep and so forth, because, yeah, you gotta talk.
So what other? So is that we got a couple other articles we need to talk about, but
Sure. I don't
The
know if
sheds,
we're-
I don't,
so any
Sheds?
yeah.
any
I mean,
handouts?
The shed or not shed?
Shed.
Are we
do you mean
putting
ADU?
diagrams together for that, for the use in the bylaws? I didn't see anything in the
Shed?
warrant. Yeah.
No.
So there's nothing in the, we're not updating the drawings that we have in the appendix.
No.
So from that perspective, I don't think we need to provide a slide or anything for that.
It's pretty straightforward, I mean,
Sure.
relatively speaking, I guess.
It's just, you'll want to get up and just have a sentence or two
Right.
on each one of those
Yeah.
Yeah.
bylaws.
And I'm happy to.
Story and half story is easy, right? Huh?
I'm the one
That's a
who.
strange one.
Should be easy.
I'm the one who advocated for, changing it, so it's appropriate that I'm the one that goes up there and talks about it, I guess.
There you go.
No,
That'll be the one you get a million questions on.
Oh,
It's
100%.
always the one you don't think about.
100%. Absolutely.
The story and half story?
Yeah, why not?
Turn our attention to the spring.
Yep.
But before that, yeah, so for the spring, we already talked about this a little bit, ADUs,
ADUs, and possibly EV charging
EV
stations.
charging, for sure.
Yeah.
We should be getting from Department of Conservation Recreation, that we will need to adopt the new floodplain maps finally, so. Excuse me, so, I'm anticipating that we'll get a letter in December that we need it. We already made all the bylaw changes a couple years ago,
Yeah.
but now the maps are falling behind. That will,
Yeah, we were supposed to have those maps a long time ago.
yeah. It's a little, so there's that.
Gary, do you want to try and work on that right to farm stuff that we had discussed previously?
Yeah, I think that would be a good little side project.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully have something to add from that perspective as well.
Okay.
This came out of, it was,
Union Street.
it was an estate lot plan that was being challenged by someone that owned a farm, and I think both Chris and I said, hey, like, don't worry, we have a right to farm piece of the bylaw, and we don't, so it's
Right.
like a easy
Oh, okay.
gap to fill.
And there's, tons of examples out there.
Oh, okay.
A lot of towns have adopted this, and even just to say there's a lot of resources.
Then, for,
You're going too far.
November of 25?
no, this November.
Oh, okay.
No,
Oh.
next month.
Oh.
Meeting. Before I forget, getting
Yes.
older, sorry. Master plan. So we need to, now that you adopted it,
Yeah.
now we need to discuss turning towards
An action plan.
an action implementation plan and moving forward, so.
God,
At the town meeting?
No,
No, no.
the board meeting, we need to
Oh,
just kind of.
right.
Our next.
Okay. At our meeting, yes, okay.
Yeah,
So
our
we're meeting
The
on
18th?
the 18th, Monday, the 18th, right?
Yeah.
So just
I
to
think for the
What's
Go
that?
for the master plan, for the master plan stuff, when we, when we talk about it next, let's also talk with ways that we can do it long term to make sure that it's out there, the thing that exists, because the last master plan just, it was on the website for a while, but you had to dig and find it. Nobody really knew what the specifics were, so I
Yep.
think this is an opportunity to create some framework by which people understand. If they have questions about it, they can go to this part of the website or reach out to these people, and then we hopefully will continually reference it in the future.
Yeah, I almost
we
would
talk
love
about.
for it to have its own section where we provide updates on a regular basis for projects that kind of meet the requirements that were set by the master plan as well.
like we've achieved these goals.
Right,
And,
yeah.
we've set these action items and now we've achieved these two.
Yeah, that's
There are
helpful.
KPIs.
Yeah, so part of the master plan we'll talk about. Next step. Oversee the
Still assist with, or
we're on our own now.
we're on our own? All right.
I don't know.
Ground
Now,
up.
granted, there's stuff there will be things within the master plan, we might go back to them on things, but overall, we're on our own.
Okay.
Now, if we wanted to get consulting hours from them on helping to build and draft this next phase, is that something that we have funds to support?
It'd be more topical now as we go forward
Okay.
in the master plan.
Okay.
And there's other grants too that we can,
Yeah.
to do some of the work that we need to do in terms of the master plan.
I think we greatly benefited from his and his team's leadership.
Yeah.
And I'd love to keep that ball rolling. And their experience with other towns and
Yes.
how they've worked with them as well.
That's invaluable.
That was, yeah, that's huge.
Because it, the cohesiveness then of having them,
Yeah.
their involvement.
So if there's any way we can keep them involved in some way, shape, or form, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, and there are, there's two different pots of technical assistance monies that are available through MAPC that we can, apply to have them work on specific things that we want to. So yes,
Okay.
there are absolutely, definitely those opportunities going forward.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it from myself.
All right. So meetings, we have a meeting we just scheduled for the 29th, Tuesday the 29th, Zoom only. Then town meetings on Tuesday the 12th.
Yes.
And then we have our November planning board meetings moved to the 18th. And then what do we have for December?
10th,
10th. Yep.
regularly
And 10th.
scheduled.
Yep. Okay. Good
And
deal.
then, so would we expect to see January and so on in December's meeting, or would we see that in November?
Well, it's always the second Tuesday is the default.
Yeah.
Betsy, so you, in November meeting, can you put on the, like, say, the next 6 months meeting?
Yep.
So, yeah, well, December we'll do our 2025 schedule, right?
That's right.
Exciting.
Yep.
Is that?
It's exciting.
Oh, yes. 2025.
It's got a nice ring to it. I think it's going to be a good one.
Good. I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? Any other,
That's it.
okay,
That's all.
all right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, roll call. Gary? Aye.
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Okay.
All right, bye, Gary.
Thank you.
Aye.